Allah Most High says in the Qur'an, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul will, without doubt, fully experience death. We will all die. You will die, I will die, and everyone that we all know will die. But what exactly does it mean to die? What is death? In subsequent episodes of this series, I will relate and explain many other Quranic verses and prophetic hadiths that describe what happens after we die. If Allah Most High gives me life until the next episode, I will, if He wills, explain that further. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu wa sallama ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. How should we die? Allah Most High answered this question in the Holy Qur'an, saying, O you who have believed, Ya ayyuha alladheena aamanu. Fear Allah continuously. Ittaqu haqqa tuqatihi. And never ever die unless you are in the state of wholehearted submission. tamutunna antum, muslimun. If you think carefully about the end of this verse for a second, never ever die unless you are in a state of wholehearted submission, you will find it strange. Isn't it strange that Allah Most High is telling us that if we are not in a state of wholehearted submission, that He is then forbidding us in the strongest of terms, never ever, He says, from dying? But what does it mean for Him to forbid us to die? Death is not something that we choose. Death is something that He chooses. Death is something that will catch us even as we run away from it. Wherever you may be, ayna takunu, Allah Most High tells us, death will catch you. Yudrikkumul mawt. Even if you be in high, impregnable fortresses. kuntum burujin mushayyadah. What then does it mean for Him to forbid us to die? Traditional scholars of tafsir anticipated our question. They explained that He is not in fact forbidding us to die. Rather, He is commanding us to have wholehearted submission when we die. It's like when a teacher exhorts his student, don't pray Asr unless your heart is present with Allah Most High. He's not telling his disciple not to pray Asr. How could he? Praying Asr is an obligation that we owe to Allah Most High. That is not what He's telling him. What He is telling him is that he must focus his heart on Allah Most High while he prays Asr. This is a common rhetorical technique, even in English. Think about the expression again. Don't pray Asr unless your heart is present with Allah Most High. Can you see that the teacher is telling his student that his standing before his Lord during the Asr prayer is such a tremendous thing that it is not fitting for him to do it without focusing his heart on Him? Can you see that the teacher is telling his student that the reason why his heart isn't focused on his Lord in the Asr prayer is that he doesn't realize what a tremendous thing it is? The teacher is not forbidding his student from praying Asr. He is commanding him to realize its tremendous significance and focus his heart on Allah Most High while he prays Asr. In the same way, when Allah Most High says, never ever die unless you are in a state of wholehearted submission, He is telling us that the reason why we don't have wholehearted submission is that we don't realize the tremendous significance of death. He is telling us to realize its tremendous significance, to realize that death marks the end of our opportunity to realize the purpose of our lives, and that the reason why someone might not have wholehearted submission when he dies is that he doesn't realize what a tremendous thing death is. Allah Most High is not forbidding us to die. He is telling us to realize the tremendous significance of our deaths and to have wholehearted submission to Him while we die. Now, I want you to note what the tremendous significance of death is, to realize the purpose of our lives. That takes us back to the previous episode of this podcast, in which I explained that the purpose of death is to give joy to life by turning its difficulties and pleasures into expressions of our humble slavehood to our generous Maker. The significance of dying does not lie in death. The significance of dying lies in the joyful, meaningful, and purpose-driven life that comes before it. That means that this verse is, in reality, not telling us how we should die. It is telling us how we should live. To be more specific, it is telling us how we should live the moment before we die. It is telling us to have wholehearted submission to our Maker at the last point of our lives, as we take our last breath just before we die. Every problem we solve seems to reveal a new problem. Our new problem here is that we don't know when we will die. The time of our deaths is concealed from us, revealed only to the angels responsible for inscribing our destinies in the heavenly preserved tablet, and to the angels responsible for taking our souls when the appointed time of our death comes. If we don't know when we will die, how can we fulfill Allah Most High's command to have wholehearted submission just before we die? The answer to this question lies in the first part of this verse. O you who have believed, fear Allah continuously. Fear Allah continuously, in other words, throughout your life. The question of this episode, how should we die, is therefore another way of asking the question, how should we live? The answer to that question, along with an examination of the first part of this verse, will be the subject of the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this Seekers Hub podcast. To listen to the rest of our shows, please visit seekershub.fm. You can also subscribe to our weekly email newsletter called Compass, where we'll send the best of Seekers Hub's content straight to your inbox every single week. To get on the list, visit seekershub.org/compass. Our goal is to raise $75,000 in monthly donations to build a global Islamic seminary so that dedicated students all over the world can complete their journeys and become Islamic scholars. You can help them by becoming a monthly donor at seekershub.org/donate.